today we bring you an in-depth review of the all-new Hyundai EXTER, and we pit the turbo variant of the Hyundai Verna against the Volkswagen Virtus GT. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. Hyundai has got a new product in the micro SUV space called the EXTER, which is going up against the likes of the Tata Punch and the Citroen C3. It's got everyone talking and excited because of its introductory price tag of 6 lakh rupees. It is started to be the next big vehicle in the market. Let's find out more about it.
Hyundai Motor India's position as the country's second largest car maker has come under several threats from Tata Motors over the last several months. And the only way that they can ensure that they remain in that second position, probably gain a bit of market share from Maruti Suzuki as well, is to ensure that a new range of products comes out, a new range of products that is able to bring them volumes. And this is one of those new products. This is their contender currently. This is the new EXTER. But that is information for the business channels, CNBC, Money Control. What you as a consumer would like to know, just how good is the EXTER? How nice is it to drive? What does it have to offer you? And that is exactly what I'm here to evaluate. Now don't be mistaken by the location we've come to. This is significant off-road conditions and the EXTER isn't really built for that. Though it does have that SUV-like aspiration, it's not exactly an SUV. You don't get four-wheel drive. Keep in mind, this is still a sub-4 meter hatchback with SUV-like body cladding. It's built on the Grand i10 Neos platform. So, well, there are limitations to what it can do. Well, one of those limitations it does not have is the way it looks. This is a very attractive car, has fantastic proportions and very strong design elements, very strong styling elements. You look at that front face, very unique. This car will stand out anywhere in a crowd. There is no mistaking one, Hyundai's design language. You can see those elements right here on the parametric grille. It's got this nice sharply angled front face, the Hyundai badge sitting proud on that bonnet, and of course that color, fantastic color as well. But here are two things that ideally identify it, or rather give it that look and feel of an SUV. If you look at the front fender and the rear fender, you'll notice that, well, those wheel arches are quite extended. They bulge out. Those bulges give it a lot of character, a lot of strength. Now, this is not new. We've already seen this bulge on the Verna, a sedan, which gives it a very muscular feel, and that muscularity has been extended to the EXTER as well. Good looking car? Definitely. This is a small car, like I mentioned, but there is a fair amount of space and a lot of things that, well, will look probably similar to you if you've seen the Grand i10 Neos before. The steering wheel, similar elements. The dashboard again, the fascia over here, quite similar. But nonetheless, you've got a larger 8.3 infotainment screen. You've got LED cluster right behind the steering wheel over here, and several other elements, the upholstery, the panels, even this texturing on the dashboard. It's completely new, very unique for this segment as well. It's a nice place to be in. But what I'd like to know is just what the space is like in the rear seat. I've adjusted the position of the driver's seat to my liking. Let's just hop into the rear and see what the space is like over there. So here I am in the rear bench, and this does not split. It does not have a 60-40 split. However, the seat folds down if you want to increase boot space. But if you look at it, there is an enormous amount of headroom. There's an enormous amount of knee room. For a package that sits under 4 meters in length, this is very smartly packaged to offer maximum space and a fair amount of comfort as well. It's a hot day today. You can see I'm sweating. And one of the advantages that the EXTER offers are these rear AC vents for consumers. Well, this will keep you cool in hottest of conditions. Overall, not a bad cabin, quite nicely spec'd, comfortable, a fair amount of luxury, and at that price, starting off at 599, going all the way just about 9 lakh rupees ex-showroom. Well, not a bad offering at all. The EXTER may have SUV-like aspirations. It's designed as such. It's got this slightly over square silhouette. It's got these large, very muscular elements on the exteriors, enhancing the design profile. But when you're in the driver's seat, when you're sitting here, well, it's not a very raised stance. You may have that 185 mm of ground clearance, but you aren't sitting far above the ground looking over other traffic. The EXTER, it's a good urban car to drive. I think it would excel if you had to drive this within city limits. Irrespective of what the road conditions are like, it would really feel in its element right there. And this wouldn't matter if you're driving a manual or better yet, the AMT. But if you had to perhaps, say, drive it on the Mumbai-Delhi expressway that's coming out in the future, this would be a little bit tiring to drive over very long distance. You want slightly better comfort, you want a more powerful engine, and well, the EXTER does have its limitations.
There's a lot more that this micro SUV packs in. Join us after this break as we tell you how the Hyundai EXTER feels like to drive on the road and more about its safety and features. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. Now, despite its compact dimensions, Hyundai has packaged the EXTER very smartly to incorporate a long list of features, including some which are first in its segment and also some interesting safety tech like 6 airbags across the range. Let's get back to the review so that Bert can tell you how this car feels like to drive on Indian roads.
Under the EXTER's hood sits a 1.2-litre petrol engine. This belongs to the Kappa family of engines from Hyundai, and it's also used in several other cars like the i10, the Grand i10 Neos, Aura, the i20 and even the Venue. You get about 83 PS of max power with close to about 180 Newton meters of max torque, which is adequate for, well, everyday run-around duties. Hyundai is also offering the EXTER with a CNG option. So this is clubbed with that 1.2-litre petrol Kappa engine, and they claim that the fuel efficiency is roughly around 27 kilometers per kilogram of CNG. Now the only drawback to that is that the CNG canister, well, it sits in the boot and essentially eliminates any boot space that you would have. This engine option, well, it comes mated to a 5-speed manual transmission or a 5-speed AMT. The unique bit about the automated manual transmission is that in addition to the gear lever, you also get paddle shifters. And this is something that the segment hasn't seen ever before. How does it work? Well, very simple. It works just like the manual selector on the shift lever right here at the bottom. Right paddle for shifting up gears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left paddle, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is it more responsive? Yes, it certainly is more responsive than leaving the car in the automatic drive mode. You're able to downshift or upshift very quickly. I'm quite impressed with the way this gearbox is performing, and which is why I say it works better for urban conditions than if you're on the highway. What really concerns me is overtaking speeds and how well or how quickly the AMT transmission, for instance, responds to throttle inputs and how quickly it accelerates when it's on the move. And there is a bit of a concern over here because, like most engines of this capacity, this engine runs out of steam at about 3,500 RPM. And if you were in 5th gear, you'd have to make sure you drop down at least a couple of gears to get it back into the power band. Peak power comes in at 6,000 RPM, peak torque at about 4,000 RPM. But somewhere in between there, it starts to feel like it's losing steam, so you just have to work the gears to get back on the power. What I do like about the AMT though is that it drops down a gear very quickly, it gets you back on the power. I love the responses that this AMT is providing. This is quite unlike any other AMT transmission I have driven in any other cars before. Hyundai claims the fuel efficiency figures for the manual transmission, and these are tested by ARAI, stands at 19.4 kilometers per litre, while for the AMT, it's at 19.2 kilometers per litre. Now these could vary. Keep in mind, you might get more, you might get less, depending on your driving conditions as well. But on an average, we're looking at a ballpark figure of about 19 kilometers per litre for either of these two transmission variants. This isn't a very tall car either. So the proportions, the ratio of the height to the track of the EXTER is well balanced. at speed, in tight corners, the EXTER feels very stable, fairly precise. I'm very impressed with the ride quality of the EXTER. Surface harshness is damped out very nicely. You don't feel a thing inside this cabin. It sits on those 15-inch wheels and tires. The suspension has been tweaked considerably to enhance the ride comfort, and overall, this feels like a very competent car. In typical Hyundai fashion, the EXTER comes packed with all the comfort and convenience features you could think of, several of them available in, well, cars in higher segments for that matter. Another interesting feature that Hyundai adds to the list is a dash cam that's mounted at the top of the front windscreen. A few months ago, we saw MG providing the voice assistant feature that could be using a combination of Hindi and English words. Hinglish. Well, the EXTER adds to that by giving you a few more commands compared to anything that MG has to offer. One of those, for instance, is sunroof kholo.
Opening the sunroof.
Hyundai has also been trying to set benchmarks within the automotive industry, especially where safety is concerned, and the EXTER comes with 6 airbags as standard across all variants. In addition, you've got traction control, you've got ESC, you've got hill climb assist, downhill assist, and a host of other safety features. The intent here is that Hyundai is targeting a very high safety rating at the global NCAP crash tests. Well, I think this is a fabulous package. Hyundai has got another winner on its hands, and the EXTER is quite capable of bringing back significant volumes to Hyundai.
We have put together a comparison of the Hyundai EXTER against the Tata Punch, Citroen C3, Renault Kiger in terms of its technical specifications, dimensions, features, as well as safety tech. You can find that video on the Overdrive YouTube channel as well. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we pit 2 popular performance sedans against each other.